Hi, my name is Lindsay Wolf, and today I'll be presenting on Southern California Edison and the efforts they're taking to accomplish the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. Right now, they're really focusing on SDG number 7 and SDG number 13. In regards to SDG number 7, clean and affordable energy, they really would like to decarbonize the electric sector, electrify the transportation sector, and electrify more buildings. In regards to SDG number 13, climate action, they've implemented a climate adaptation and severe weather program. With this, they've used data science to better inform themselves of how to more effectively generate, procure, distribute, store, and manage their energy. To give you a little background on SCE, they're a major energy provider across the state of California. I myself am a customer, as I'm sure many of us are who live in the state. They are currently headquartered in Rosemead, California, and were founded in 1886. Over the course of about 100 years, they're now serving more than 15 million people across a 50,000 square mile area, covering coastal, central, and southern California. As a major energy provider, they're impacted by many economic, environmental, and social impacts. The major economic impact on the industry right now is something called a CCA, which is a Community Choice Aggregate Program. These programs allow local governments to procure energy using the distribution and transmission lines that SCE and other energy providers provide and maintain. This is hugely impacting the economy and the industry right now, and it's forcing these energy providers to revamp their business model and make it more beneficial for customers to partner with them instead of their local governments. In regards to environmental impacts, we all know there are major regulations in place right now and in the process of being passed that are regulating how companies are reducing greenhouse gas emissions, how much those emissions have to be reduced, how large their carbon footprint can be. It's forcing companies like SCE to put sustainability first and change their daily operations to abide by that. In regards to social impacts, it really comes down to stakeholders and investors. These people want to make sure their money is going towards something lasting. They want to make sure they're investing in companies that are, again, putting sustainability first and making efforts to adapt to the economy and adapt to the industry and what their customers want and need. So regardless of whether we're paying customers of SCE or not, we're really all impacted by it. They have infrastructure all across the state. They partner with so many businesses and serve so many of our communities. We're really impacted by the emissions and the carbon footprint they have every day. They have such a huge impact on our safety and our health, and they know it. With that, they're implementing major initiatives and major programs right now to make sure they're keeping us and their customers as safe as possible. So one of the major things they're doing right now is hybrid technology buildings. They're using Tesla PowerPack batteries and advanced microgrid solutions. Right now, they're testing this in 2 major power plants, one in Norwalk, California, and one in Rancho Cucamonga, California. Based on the success of these plants, they'd like to transfer it over to 3 more plants. They're seeing a huge difference in supply and demand, and they're realizing it's an excellent alternative to natural gas, particularly during high demand times. Another major thing that SCE was recognized for was a paper that they published called Clean Power and Electrification Pathway, Realizing California's Environmental Goals. In 2018, California set a lofty goal of reducing greenhouse gas emissions from their 1990 levels by 40% by 2030 and economy-wide carbon neutrality by 2045. This paper that SCE wrote, Clean Power and Electrification Pathway, really laid out the set of actions, a set of feasible actions that the state would need to take to accomplish those 2030 goals. Finally, we know how California is so vulnerable to fire season. We face extremely high temperatures, lasting droughts, and very dry seasons. As a result, SCE launched their Climate Adaptation and Severe Weather Program. This evaluates the impacts of climate change on their assets and infrastructure, their business processes, their policies, and their stakeholders. SCE has implemented strict short and long-term mitigation measures, risk training, electrical safety training, emergency response plans, and shared best practices to adequately prepare their stakeholders for future fire seasons and ideally prevent fires from happening. With this, I would like to propose that SCE change their business model. I think that they need to implement an integrated utility service model, or an IUS. This really allows customers to customize their power plan. They can choose from a number of options, whether that be wind, hydro, solar, or electric power. They can partner with SCE and be responsible for their own sustainability efforts and their own usage and their own power sources. SCE has been a leader and a revolutionary energy provider in the last 100 years, and being an IUS, having an IUS model, would really place them as leader for the next 100 years.